Alrighty then. Cool. Everyone, happy Friday. Friday is where we're at. Cool. So today, we have a lot of work ahead of us. I have an hour to get through it. This is going to be sick. Let's see if the command actually works. Shout out to Jordan. Oh yeah, it works. Totally. Cool. So we have a campaign starting tonight. And we have done minimal, and by we, I mean the royal we. We have started very minimally in the amount of work that has been prepared for this. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, but I haven't spent a lot of time sort of writing stuff down about what we are or are not going to do. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, so let's get through it and let's have some ideas. Let's start writing stuff down. I'm borrowing, aka stealing, from Sly Flourish's template. I really like it, and I think it's going to help me get some of my thoughts in order. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to have a complete vision of what this quote-unquote campaign is going to be about, but a little bit of information. So 4 players, which have made their characters. We've got our 4 players. Let's write this down just briefly here. 4 players. We have D&D Beyond to help us remember who those players are, which is great. We'll put that in there later. And these are relatively new players still, which is great. So one of my favorite things in life is new D&D players. So we just finished. I mean, they're not new anymore, really. They were new. 2 of the. Is it 4? 5? It's 4. So 2 of them were really, really new. One had some experience, though nothing super in-depth, and the other one has been playing for quite some time. We started this with the intention of having like a 4-week thing during COVID, and then it quickly exploded into a campaign of its own life for the entirety of COVID, which is great. They really fell in love with the game, which has been fun. We finished a Theros campaign that started at level 2 and ran all the way through level 9 or 10. And they had a blast. We did our session 0, and I asked them questions about what they liked and what they didn't like as a sort of post-mortem. And they really liked it. They had fun. I offered them multiple settings. So the pitches were essentially Eberron, which they nixed, didn't like the idea of Eberron. I pitched them, I think, Dark Sun, which they equally did not like. I pitched them sci-fi if they wanted. I pitched them just Forgotten Realms, sort of standard fantasy, and I pitched them Spelljammer, because I love Spelljammer. Sort of a fantastical adventure from, plane to plane and gem to gem and that sort of thing. Anyway, they latched on into the standard Lord of the Rings high fantasy medieval let's go across and get stuff done, which is great. So that's what we have to work with. Now, our options are many in terms of what kind of setting we can give them and what kind of adventure we can have for them. They really liked sort of the light touch adventure fun that we had. The story was driving through, and they're pretty committed. So the timeline that we have is about 3 months, 3.5 months. Which, if we're playing every Friday, help my math here, 3 was 3 times 12, about 14 sessions. I don't know that I can plan for 14 sessions exactly on the dot, but we can probably come up with a story that makes sense, that we can fit into that timeline with complications along the way. We can easily fill out 14 sessions and go from there. Now, what's the setting? What do we want to deal with? What do we want to talk about? How is it going to work? I have some ideas, but the one that I kind of... So, to be honest, I'm a big fan, I'm a big nerd of the Discworld series. And I've been rereading part of it just because I love that world so much. And I thought, I've been playing with this idea for the past week or so. Why not have a game in the Discworld series? There's nothing, I think, in the 5th edition world that's been officially released around that, obviously. There used to be... I don't think I'm making this up. I'm pretty sure there used to be like a GURPS-based Discworld setting that existed. So I'm not looking to rip off Discworld entirely, but I like the idea of having something more fun. The witches, the elves being not necessarily the most friendly, nice people. I like the idea of being on the back of Atwin. I never know how it's pronounced properly. So the concept of this being a giant turtle that's floating through space with 4 elephants on its back, and the 4 elephants hold this flat disc world that flies through time and space. It's got a lot of humor in it. It's really fun, so I think we can set the tone that way. And it'd be fun to see the characters just sort of traipse around from like the Ramtops all the way through Uberwald to Ankh-Morpork, or some semblance of Ankh-Morpork, maybe Stolat, Quorum, just sort of having those standard tropes, but like making them a bit more fun and still having relevance. It sort of turns the tropes on their heads, with Cohen the Barbarian being a mocking of like the quintessential adventure, which is kind of fun, with the goblins not being like this evil race, but just being generally misunderstood and being artistic, as we saw, I think, in Snuff, for those of you who may have read it. But I think I like that idea. I think I like the idea of doing this in Discworld and having sort of a fun time in that setting. We can call it something else. It doesn't have to be Discworld. But I think that could be like a great starting point. And if anybody in chat who's here, which are the... Oh, today's just our bot friends. MTG Bot, another TV viewer. Hello, another TV viewer. Mr. Ducko3, Restream Bot, Stream Elements. I love you guys. My #1 viewers. Hope you guys are doing well today. Cool. So if we go with that concept, which I like, and I get to pick because I'm the DM, and it fits what they wanted, so we're going to put this setting in the Discworld. So the pitch being, this is fun, crosses many landscapes, it's very character driven, and so we have high magic, we have turning tropes on their heads a bit, making this really fun. Sorry, I'll put that in capitals. It's generally fun, but I don't want to take this super seriously. And here we're going to be having the heroic journey, right? Like, this is a classic elevator pitch. We're going to work our way through issues stemming from... Well, we need to come up with a story here in a second. Okay, let's keep that at the elevator pitch. And then the setting, like this world setting itself. Discworld Atuan, which kind of turns things... I like that. I think that's fun. I'm gonna go with that. Okay. Let's keep spitballing here. What are some truths about this setting, right? We have, hey wizard, I see in chat, an actual viewer. It's not a bot. It's an actual viewer. Yay, we got one. We got one. Okay. So if tonight's campaign, we're looking to start setting this up. Do we need to worry about 6th truths about this campaign yet? Maybe. I want this campaign to be about, I can't keep saying fun. So let's see Uberwald. And I want it to be about the consequences on the regular folk when magic is out of control. I want to, I want gods to be very present, and like manifest themselves commonly themselves. So gods will like actually argue on their own behalf things. Like, no, I'm here and I don't agree with what you're saying. You might be my cleric, but I just definitely don't agree with everything you're saying here. In fact, let's rethink this relationship a little bit. So I want God to just like kind of be there, and without like throwing their weight around, but just have it kind of be fun. What else do we want? We want unintended consequences. So everything they do will have consequences elsewhere. What else do we want about this? I want, oh yeah, elves to be traditional folklore elves, i.e. lean towards evil. And I want iron to be very important. What else do we need to know about this? We need to know, let's start that here. The villains. Who are what the 3 major drivers in this campaign? Often these are villains. If you don't want to share it with the player, instead create a villain card for each villain. Okay, I don't know if that I agree with this entire template, but let's try to stick to it as best we can. So what are some ideas here around villains? Okay. Let's try to think about the story before I do villains, because I want to have at least the story in mind. Let's see if this sounds good. So I want the source of the problem, if there is to be a problem, to be, if we're using this, like, is it something in Uberwald? Uberwald? I don't know how we're going to pronounce that. If we go extra German, Uberwald. In Uberwald, there's a lot of problems. And the probleming that is occurring in Uberwald is so quiet and unseen, but it is having many consequences across the disc world. Alright, so Uberwald, what is happening in Uberwald? I'll write this here. What is happening in the Uberwald? Well, what is happening in Uberwald is, so we have factions in the Uberwald. We've got the dwarves, we've got the vampires, we've got the werewolves, and we've got the Igors, sort of undead. Oh, okay, Igors, undead. Cool. And what are these guys each up to? Let's try to decipher a little bit of truth here and work our way through. So the dwarves is always digging into the digging and mining and maybe finding something, question mark. Vampires are always up to their political ploys. So they're not necessarily evil. In this setting, vampires tend to be very manipulative. They are not necessarily like our traditional dark cape. Oh yes, I have arrived. I will suck all your blood. Instead, they get their jollies from other ways. So Lady Margalotta, if we go by lore, is in fact has sworn off sucking the blood of all the people. Mushrooms no longer grow, and the mushroom market is collapsing. Amazing. Yes. This has to be true. This is going to make. Let's do that here. Mushrooms no longer grow, and the mushroom market is collapsing. Nobody knew how important mushrooms were, but some people did know. Some people did know. Okay, political werewolves. What are the werewolves up to? They have a new charismatic leader who is not. Oh yeah, yes. Who is a half-breed? So half werewolf, half human. and is not subject to the hunger of the and can actually lead them to greatness. You forgot to get mushrooms for your barbecue pork today? Your world is collapsing? Wizard, I hear you. Also, you're doing pork barbecue like on the grill or inside the house? Like, how are you gonna grill pork? It's like -20, bro. And the Igors, the undead. You know what? They're actually really a friendly type. What are they up to? They're still working on their pro-undead campaign. We need to come up with a clever name for the pro-undead campaign. Maybe some kind of acronym that fits. So we are awesome. No, hang on, that's too long. Okay, maybe it just simply has to spell undead. So the Union for Newly Deceased Entities that ain't that dead. Yes. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with this because it's the first thing I thought of. The Union for Newly Deceased Entities that ain't that dead, also known as undead. Okay, I'm glad we came up with this and like that fits, and it fits the. Okay, so they're working on their undead campaign, and maybe that's rubbing some people the wrong way because you know you're a zombie and you're kind of dead and you need to just stay that way. Maybe. Ooh, okay, so there could be an arc here. So with the undead, they want people. Oops, let's get rid of the formatting. They want people living, the living. So what do they call the living? They want the hot ones to, which makes it really awkward. They want the hot ones to know what it's like for them. So maybe they've worked on something that has accidentally, and this could be a later thing, made death unable to do its job. And so there are a bunch of people who are like mortally wounded just kind of walking around. And part of the adventure will be, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's rip that plot from Mort, where death goes on a strike and then people can't die anymore. What does that do? So what is the chain? All right, so this is what's happened in Uberworld. Fine, I like it. That could be the starting point. I have 45 minutes to keep coming up with some shit. This is good. I like this. All right, let's just take that plot line from one of the books. So we'll call this Mort plot line. And I'm gonna just copy paste this right here. Death. People are walking around unable to die anymore. So ultimately players need to rescue or just find death. So either they need to rescue, find death, or undo whatever the hell it is that the Igors have done. And they didn't mean any harm by it. Actually, the Igors are not the bad guys here, or the bad folk. That kind of happened. Look, I didn't mean for death to not be able to do its job. We just wanted you guys to walk, you know, a mile in our decrepit shoes. What's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with that? Right? If Frankenstein could speak and had a soul, he'd be like, guys, being me is not so easy. Or being us, because we're different pieces. Oh, I like that. They don't refer to themselves as me. They refer to themselves as us. Okay, so just on a side note. Refer to themselves. I'm not sure how good this is going to be. But I kind of like it. If I like it, I think maybe I can make them like it. Okay. What's the consequence of people not being able to die anymore? Or maybe injuries? I don't know. That might not be where we start. Maybe we start with the mushroom thing. We'll figure it out. So the dwarves have found something? What did the dwarves find? Another idea here. What did the dwarves find, wizard? they're technically digging through the back of this enormous turtle. Maybe, oh, maybe they dug a little too far. Uh-oh. Maybe they're digging and they're finding this stuff that's amazing, but maybe they're digging towards one of the many hearts of I have not seen Torchwood Miracle Day. No, I have not. Torchwood sounds vaguely familiar. Torchwood, I think, is that the show where it's a byproduct, it's like an offshoot of Doctor Who? Is that the show? Torchwood? Or am I thinking of something else? It is a spin-off of Doctor Who, okay. Yeah. I think my wife was into it for a good while. I don't really know more than that. I know I heard the name. Okay, so what does it do? Miracle Day was the 4th season. Okay, maybe I'll look at that to some inspiration. We can't start immediately with people have stopped. Can we? Look, how intense would that be? You're in, so and so, and session. Okay, hang on. Maybe this is the very beginning of that, right? Maybe our first scene. This would be hilarious. They're in some kind of location, and they're fighting bad guys. Before we can come up with a reason, and an explosion just rattles off nearby something, and these people get flung out, grievously wounded, and they just kind of get up and go, well, that really hurts. And there's like a stake through their chest, like an eye's getting kind of knocked out, half their skull's missing. Like, I feel like I should be dead right now. And what the hell's going on? That could be a pretty interesting beginning to the game, right? They kill the bad guys, they kill the bad guys. And the bad guys get up and go, well, alright, you win. I'm sorry. I need to go see my family now. And they just leave. You can have whatever it is. And then sort of like, okay, that's what's happening now. That's a great start to a campaign, right? I think. Isn't that fun? That sounds fun. I don't know. That sounds really fun to me. Yeah, well, okay, we can sort of steal that and not lose that. Okay. And then okay, so I'll need to write down some ideas here for how that campaign, let me just for specifically so I don't lose that for tonight. Share my notepad. I don't. Notepad, are you showing on screen? Yeah. Okay, so beginning. I have a whole tool online to do this, so I don't have to use Notepad, but I'm still gonna go to Notepad because I can just jot down super quick ideas without muddling everything up. So, some kind of fight, and when they win, or lose, actually, they might actually lose the fight, which would equally be hilarious. They just kind of get up and go, huh? Oh, but doesn't that just break everything if the characters can't die? Yeah, no, they don't regenerate. No. Like, you get your arm cut off and it's like, pfft, huh? And then they just can't attach it back and it's like, what? Well, this has not been a good day, and they just kind of, this really hurts. And they just kind of leave. Right? Imagine you're fighting a bad guy, somebody's mugging you, you stab him through the chest, and they're like, well, you ruined my shirt. And they just kind of leave. Yeah, exactly. It would not be fun. It's not always going to be fun in games, but it could be kind of okay. But I don't want to make it necessary. You know what? I'm not going to make it dark. This is the intention here is not to make it dark and gritty, but to make it fun. To make it like a more fun thing. Yeah. I you've traumatized the whole village. You're burning them alive. Ah, this hurts. And then after, like, all right, well, I guess this is the new normal. This just kind of hurts all the time, but I can tolerate it. Yeah. I'm not going to be trying to traumatize my players. Okay, so we have to come up with a reason where they can still die, but what the bad guys can't, or other people can't. Does that work? Okay, does that translate in D&D? Like death is now removed as a possible consequence? What does that do? Okay, that's a great conversation. Holy schmoly. What does that do if I want to run with that concept? That death is no longer a thing. Like, I think that fundamentally changes how you play the game, right? Like, characters can just do stuff. Now, if they get squished, then, you know, their character is no longer available. You're just a puddle of goop. And so maybe the resurrection skill or spell is taking those remains to, like, what's the type of people that do embalming? What are they called? Morticians? So morticians, oh my god, dude, I love this idea so much. I want my players to do ridiculous things, and I think that's going to empower them to do just the most ridiculous things. I'm not sure if this is a genius idea or like the dumbest idea I've ever had. I think it treads that line somewhere, right? Where, dude, I don't know. I think this is really clever, and I think it could be really, really fun, especially in a more short form thing. You know what? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. Let's see what happens. If the players hate it or if it doesn't pan out the way I think it will, so be it. I'm willing to try it. Okay, let me write these down. So morticians equal, which in this world are the Igors. They are the clerics, and they can reattach body parts and stuff. So there's still risk. If you lose a limb, you lose that limb. You don't die, but you're just kind of walking around. You can, you know, what do you do? So, okay. Okay. Let's come back here. So let's, yeah, consequences. Gods show up. The mushroom thing is gonna play into this. Death is no longer a threat. Getting squished, etc. still plays a role. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They have to apply for unemployment. Coffin makers like, well, my business is just done. Or, actually, maybe coffin makers see their business boom because people suddenly feel the urge to sleep underground, and now the quality of a casket, the length that it survives, has suddenly become very important. You know, the rich want, like, I want a primo casket. I don't want this to be worms and crap digging through this. You know, so maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they're just even more busier in English. That's an idea. So like this, I think, I mean, maybe like more traditional situation we can have. Maybe these guys, they have dug to the bottom of the Discworld and can now travel under. And how are we gonna cause, like, maybe some shenaniganry? I don't know what exactly, but some shenaniganry. Maybe the vampires like do a whole lot of nothing right now because I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I'm kind of stuck on that idea of people not being able to die anymore. And what does that do? Maybe it won't work. I'll have to tell the players, like, this session, let's try something new. It might not work. Please bear with me, and we're gonna see what happens. I'm super curious to know what that's actually going to do. Okay. They're fighting the bad guys. Bad guys get killed, or the players get killed, and they just kind of, so we need to describe a moment. Something happens. Okay. So people can't die. So it's been like, there's been an earthquake. Let's say the starting point is Lanker, which is like Podunk. Is that how you spell Podunk town? Let's call it just a very remote town, small population. The earthquake has broken one of the bandits' nearby hovel, and as they're traveling, they get jumped. Question mark? Or do we start in a tavern, a traditional tavern, and then like the earthquake happens? I don't know. I like the idea. I like to start with like maybe a fight. That's fine. Some kind of fight, whether they win or lose. Is it more fun if they win or if they lose? I'm not even sure. I don't know that I care. And then from then on, they're going. So Lanker has the witches, who maybe they might go visit. So I'll push them to go see the witches, who might tell them something is wrong, and they need to fetch some components for a ritual to reach death. Oh yeah, and there's a thing like that in the book. Vampires will be totally... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, people have immortality too. Yeah, the vampires are like, yo, actually the vampires, they get depressed. They no longer feel special. Yeah. No, the players can't die. No, I want the players to also not be able to die. The only thing that can happen to them, I mean, they're still like if they get squished by a giant, say, they're squished. Like you don't die, but you're now just a puddle of nothing. You can't adventure, so that would be essentially retiring your character, right? So depending on how egregiously, how much damage you've taken, then it is what it is. But if you're at the top of a cliff and you jump down, you break every bone, you know, you might still be able to get up and walk, but like, you think it'd be more fun for them to have to lose the first fight? Maybe that'd be hilarious. Yeah. Maybe what they'll do is like they'll lose or they'll win, and like the guys stand up like, and they stab them and like kill one of the players and goes, all right, well, pulls out the blade. There's like blood gushing out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just angry that you killed me, and I just, you know, I guess I felt the need to do it back to you, but that didn't help. That didn't help. Yeah, exactly. I don't want them to necessarily lose, but like maybe there's let's call it a possibility that there's shenaniganry afoot. And if like they kill one of the bandit dies, and then gets up with his blade and just goes, that was, how does that feel? You wouldn't like that, would you? I don't like that at all. You know, I need to go see my mom now. And then they just leave. So that could be like session 1. That's gonna be a bit spooky. What is the ritual? I know there's a ritual, and so the ritual of talking to death in Discworld. There's actually a name for it because they do that. The rite of Ashk-NT. Yes. Bring that here. Right there. Can you see that on stream? Can't. Kind of. Get rid of you, notepad. Yo, this is fun. I like the idea. I'm not sure how well it's gonna work. I legitimately have no clue if this is gonna work well. Let me zoom in on this. A ceremony to summon death for various reasons. The most common cause for wizards to reluctantly summon death is to ask him questions about inexplicable phenomena, because he seems to know everything. The rite needs to be performed by 8 powerful wizards, either with loads of magical paraphernalia for the look of the thing, or with only a few small bits of essential equipment. Death doesn't like the rite, because it so happens he's always busy when the wizards summon him. Old wizards dislike the ritual as it makes death more aware of them, period. Anyone filling the office of death is called by the rite, resulting in... Oh, okay, yes, this back. And noteworthy that Captain Carrot Iron Founderson has found an easier way to talk to death. Yes. Good. Okay. I like that. So maybe the witches, like, we don't necessarily need to follow this, but they need to find them some stuff to do a death summon, and we can end the session on that quest being handed out to them, or something like that. Okay, so the campaign is now about that. The campaign is about death, retiring, being locked away, being unable to do his job because of... We're not necessarily married to that idea, but I think it's a good idea because the Igors, the Union for Newly Deceased Entities That Ain't That Dead, did something. They performed a rite. They found a doohickey. Okay, so the dwarves found something. The Igors took it, not knowing what it was, but it seemed really powerful, and they did like a thing with it, and that caused that problem. So then it's going to be about, what did you guys do? Where was it? Let's go figure it out. Let's put it back where it belongs. Let's plug up the hole, and there we go. Oh! Dude, that's amazing! Yes! Yes, one of the strange byproducts is that, yes, mushrooms can't grow anymore. Okay, maybe that's what we start with. Like, it's the day and mushrooms no longer grow, and there's been fights that have been breaking out of the market recently, and some strange behavior. And you've been asked, oh my god, this is where we start. This is so much better. They're not just in a tavern, they're accompanying the last known merchant or caravan that contains mushrooms. The great chefs of Quirm have asked for this, the truffles to be accompanied. It's worth a lot of money. The mushroom market is collapsing. And they get jumped by bandits, and boom, 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 fight erupts. Nobody dies. What the F is going on? And cue the rest of it. Yeah, 100 years of mushroom celebration is ruined. It is canceled. People are mad. What's a name of a mushroom? Give me a mushroom. Top best mushrooms of all time. I'm gonna Google that. Is that a thing? Top 10. Did somebody make a list? Okay, 25 chefs on their favorite mushrooms. What mushroom do you like? Morels. What about you? The chanterelle. Perfect. The towns of Morel and Chanterelle. The towns. Okay, this is how we kick this sucker off. Wizard, we got it. Where's my notepad? Yeah, this adventure is ridiculous, and I'm here for it. This is amazing. All right. I'm laughing. I think it's funny. Well, the players, I don't know. The towns, maybe the tone will be off and be like, I want something more serious. No, you created a character called Keebler Elf, for crying out loud. So the towns of Morel, Chanterelle, and is there another L? I like alliterations or rhyming, but instead and just the one that's like shiitake. All right, let's just call it the towns of Morel, Chanterelle, and what's like the dwarves and yeah, this is a Super Mario game. Exactly. The towns of Morel, Chanterelle, and what's like the most basic mushroom that's just like boring? Give me like, I don't want truffles. I want like the most boring mushroom. Is there like something called like a brown mushroom, a white mushroom? What's a white mushroom called? Button mushrooms. Also called baby mushrooms or white mushrooms. Cool. The towns of Morel, Chanterelle, and White Mushroom have their 100-year celebration lined up. Recently, there has been a severe drought of mushrooms, and no one knows why. The last shipment of mushrooms has been asked for by the great chefs. Yeah, this is ridiculous and I love it. Of Quirm, or the great chefs for this celebration. Players have been tasked with accompanying said shipment. They get jumped, off we go. Okay. So, Blue Breeze, the concept here that we came up with, which is ridiculous, is that people can't die anymore. So the actual storyline, let's revisit the storyline and see if it makes sense and we can fit a mini campaign in this mess. The dwarves, where is it? The dwarves have dug up, let's call it the heart, a gem heart. Okay? They've dug up a gem heart. Let's call it that. This gem heart is very powerful. The Igors, i.e. the undead, have started a coalition called, as you can see here, the Union for Newly Deceased Entities That Ain't That Dead. They borrowed the gem heart and did a ritual that we don't care necessarily about the specifics right now, but by doing that ritual, what they've done is they've made Death unable to do his job or their job anymore. So people can no longer die. Because things can no longer die, thank you, Wizard, for that link. It's a brilliant link. Because things can no longer die, mushrooms, which grow on decay, I guess, I'm not mycologist, is that what they're called? I'm not a specialist in mushrooms, but we're gonna pretend. Mushrooms can no longer grow because there's nothing that's decaying. That's it. So mushrooms are now at a shortage. Players are in like some remote regions. They don't really know. Nobody's really brought up to them that people can't die anymore, and they're gonna experience that for the first time. They've been traveling for a little bit of time. They got this job to accompany mushrooms. The scene starts with them getting jumped by bandits to steal this very valuable load of mushrooms. They fight, they win, they lose, who knows. If they win, they quote unquote kill the bandits, who then later get up and go. So this is supposed to be kind of maybe more fun. Why this hurts? Why'd you do that? There's a bit of conversation. The bandits go, well, I'm going home, and this sucks. And they leave, and they get information maybe that the witches in the nearby town have possibly some information about what the hell's going on. And then we get there. The witches tell them, well, you know, they have a theory, they want to test it. They just, I don't know, grab a bee. They just squash a bee. Nobody cares. Or a wasp. Let's not make it a bee. A wasp. They squash a wasp. The wasp is squished and still is trying to fly around. Like, okay, we have a problem. And you know, the only way to figure out what the hell the problem is, in this case, is to get to the source. Yeah, that's amazing. So that's going to be enough for like a session 0. But that's the story. So they'll have to figure out what's going on with death. They'll have to work out that something is happening in Uberwald, where the dwarves dug up the gem heart. What maybe the undead Igors did, and retrieve the gem heart and jam it back wherever the hell they found it to allow death to do his job. So I kind of like that, right? That works. It's goofy, but it's kind of fun. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the notes. Do we need to be more specific than this? Like, maybe? I don't even know what the hell we're doing, but I think that's freaking amazing, and I like that idea so much. Where was I? Okay, cool. So if we want to keep working with the notes that why is Notepad still showing up? I don't want Notepad to show up on the screen. Let me see. Not lose it. Sorry, I'm like kind of lost in my own head. Let's call this mushrooms.txt. Close it. Okay. I go back now to my session notes. So the villains are what? At the beginning, like the overall villains. So, I mean, the Igors aren't necessarily villains. It's people who are going to take advantage of that situation, right? So what are these? The werewolves are definitely going to take advantage of the situation. Maybe the mushroom cartel is a thing that we don't know about, but we need to find out. The mushroom cartel, guys. Big mushroom. Big mushroom has a lot to say. Mushroom cartel is a new the mushroom this is a new sentence I've said out loud. I kind of love it. The mushroom cartel, guys, is going to be it's a new mafia, right? Sort of. Okay, the mushroom cartel is a thing established. And what other villains are there? Perhaps some actual evil liches or other entities who want to get their hands on the gem heart. MacGuffin. Because it's actually a huge source of power. Like, it's all fun and games until a lich gets its hand on a MacGuffin. Or perhaps the MacGuffin is even the phylactery. Oh. Could it simply be as much as... maybe I'm skipping too far ahead, but the gem sword could just be the phylactery of death. Death is actually a lich. He's doing the job that's been tasked in front of him, and that's his phylactery. Something happened to it. You know, they need to reconstitute it so that death can manifest and actually do the job. That could be a thing. So if they do the ritual of Ashkente to try to summon death to talk to it, they actually get 8 little tiny pieces. And now the game is about finding the 8 pieces of the gem heart that they have to reconstitute to remake the phylactery. D&D meets Discworld and complete. Just, this is going to be a mess, and I'm really in for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we start kind of small, and are we starting small? We're starting with a ridiculous concept, and I really like it. Okay, Wizard Blue Breeze. What are you guys thinking? Does that sound like a fun little crazy 3-month adventure that you'd be willing to go on? I'm waiting for your answers in chat. I'd play this. I would play this. So the gem heart is broken into. I'm putting all these notes here and there. 8 or X pieces. Let's call it 7, just to be on the nose. Alright, let's call it 8 because 8's a big number in Discworld. It is Death's phylactery, and they need to what's the word? Not readjust it, like reconstitute it for Death to show up again and do its job. Reconstruct, reconstitute. Yeah, reconstruct. That's probably better. Like reconstitute is like a long way to get there. Okay. Cool. Yes. So homebrew. Yes. So I'm gonna use some of these rules that I've been liking. So bonus action, potion for self. For self potion. Morticians are clerics, and they have the ability to reattach pieces and or reattach pieces. This is crazy. If somebody dies but comes back, like maybe they suffer a point of exhaustion. Ties go to ties. So ties, these are skill check ties. Break in favor of player. I like that idea. I think that's really good. It's meant to be heroic. I want to, you know, reward the players. I don't need this to be like. So the standard official rule for ties, if I do a challenge or a skill challenge, if there's a tie, the situation doesn't change. The status quo remains. So in technical words, if I go for a grapple check and you're not grappled, I roll a 20, you roll a 20, nothing changes because it's a tie. If I am grappled and I try to break the grapple and we do a contested check, you roll a 20, I roll a 20, I remain grappled because it's a tie, the situation remains unchanged. It's easy enough because it's a good blanket rule, but I think if you just change it to skill check ties break in favor of the player, it's equally easy to understand, but it favors the player by 5%. It's not huge, it's still not bad, and it makes it more fun. So I kind of like that. Boom, 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 and I have the extra step rule. So this extra step rule, I want to try it. I came up with this concept a little bit ago. I haven't used it yet. So extra step is the idea that players can take an extra 5 feet of movement. So when they move, let's say you have 35 feet of movement, you move up. I'll allow you to take an extra 5 feet, so to go to 40 feet. But your attack immediately has disadvantage. You're forcing yourself, you're pushing yourself, you're being kind of reckless, you're running up, and you're attacking, you're going to be at disadvantage, but at least you get to do something, because oftentimes it's that little extra nudge that you need to get in position, you want to flank the enemy, that sort of stuff. So I like the idea of the extra step, and I've been looking forward to try it and see if it works. So we're going to go with the extra step rule for this campaign, and we'll see if it works, and I hope it does. I don't know that there are any other rules I want to tack on here. Let's keep going with the little form. Patrons and factions. So we've got, I mean, we kind of talked about this already, but we've got the Igors, we've got the Uberwald as a faction. Generally, well, no, there are 3 different. So werewolves, we've got the vampires, we've got the dwarves. Of course, we've got the humans. Ankh-Morpork has its own set. Who knows if they'll go there. Mushroom Cartel. Yo, we need to come up with a name for the Mushroom Cartel. I don't want to just call it the Mushroom Cartel. What's a good play on words with the Mushroom Cartel? Chat is always more imaginative than I could ever be. So what's a cool name for a Mushroom Cartel? It looks that my craziness made Blue Breeze leave. He's like, this is crazy. Dwarves and mushrooms, yes sir. The Fungus faction? Alright. Make it sound pretty gross. The fungus. Oh, I like acronyms. Maybe fungus stands for something. So the Fungus Among Us. Alright, you know what? You had me there. But, oh man. Alright, let me just... Fungus Among Us is also pretty good. Fungus Among Us is just really good. The Fungus Among Us. Fungus. I love it. I love it. Blueberries is like, this dude is crazy and that campaign makes no sense and he just straight up bounced. I don't blame you, Blueberries. This is some next level crazy and it's meant to be fun. And it doesn't have to be serious, and that's fine. Okay, I'm happy with this. As happy as I'm gonna be. Let me tie in the characters just so I have them in here. Where does it go? Characters. Oops, wrong one. Where is it? Session planning? Is that what I called it? Oh, Friday. No, it's this guy. So it is. Okay. I don't need these characters. That's the wrong game. Oops. Let's get rid of... Sure. Let's do this. Come here. Get rid of this for now. I'll have to work on this, and this is Keebler. Then I'll need to fix this. This is some housekeeping. Got Feldry. Got BT. Can I delete just this row? Yep. Okay, I'll have to fix that later. This makes it nice and clean to keep track of. Thank you, Sly Flourish, for this great template. And then I need to just work on some of these details so I know. But I can do that later. Okay. I'm actually low-key super happy with how this came out. I hope my players have fun. I have no idea if this is going to work. They might just be like, this is too complicated. And why am I throwing this at like relatively new players and it's going to be kooky? Will they like it? I don't know. Now I'm having doubts. Do I save this as a concept? But now I can't use it for my Saturday game because I think that yeah, so this wouldn't be like a Saturday thing. It would have to be, I can sit on it and think about it. I don't have to make this the tonight thing. But I kind of like it. I think they'd maybe be okay with it, like being a little bit goofy and fun. That could be interesting. I wanna trust myself and try it. And just give them a heads up that this is gonna be a little bit goofy. Cool. No, oh no, I won't. I'm gonna start with a little bit tidbit that the mushrooms have stopped growing, and here we go. And then they're gonna have a fight, which is gonna take some time, and then they're gonna have to figure out what's going on, and then they'll make their way to the witches. The witch will say, I don't know what's happening, but you need to collect some pieces so that we can do the ritual, right? And that's probably where we'll end. And then they'll want to try to do the ritual and so on and so forth, right? So, but because I don't want this to be another year-long campaign, if the time frame is like about 10 to 12 sessions, it needs to kind of move fast anyway, right? So I don't want to sit on information just for the sake of sitting on information. I think session 1 can be kind of with a lot of information, not too much, but enough. And I think they'll have a great time with it. Cool. I don't know. I think this is fun, man. I'm not sure. People are coming and going, but hey, listen, viewers, I've got Wizard here. I don't need the rest of you. He's the best. Yeah, so it's 12:50. I think I can end with 5 minutes to spare, so I can go have some lunch before my next meeting. I like this. I think it works. Wizard, I have your blessing, which is more than enough. Anything else that we need to add here? No, this is good. Reminder, Wizard, we're on for tomorrow, 10 a.m. To do our shenaniganry with Scotty, Han, and Hootie, and we'll see how that goes. Are you excited? I'm not sure if I'm excited, but I hope that you guys will have a good time. Oh, that's fine. Nobody knows how to play bard. Just do whatever you want to do with it. You and Scotty are both bards, so it'll be great. The camaraderie or maybe competition or whatever that might stem from it. It's gonna be super cool. But it's a one shot, so it's up to you guys on how you you want to be playing it. All right, for everyone else, thanks for tuning in. So let me name them specifically. We've got Twitch Details, MTG Bot, Mr. Ducko3, Commander Root, another TV viewer, Restream Bot, and Stream Elements. Thank you all for coming in. My favorite bots, Wizard, actual thank you for tuning in for a little bit. And I'll be talking to you tomorrow. And for everyone else, if you ever check out this VOD, this is a little bit crazy, but I love it. Have a good rest of your Friday. Have a good weekend. Sunday, quick announcement. Sunday, we actually have kind of a big deal stream. We're interviewing Made of Cartoons, aka Jordan. Jordan is one of the, I think he's a lead designer for a bunch of games that have been having great success on Kickstarter. So he was part and parcel, a core part of the team that did Humblewood. He's a core part of the team that did Heckna. I think he's also been working on this Hex thing that recently got promoted on Critical Role. I know Jordan personally, so I'm very excited to have him and to talk shop with him for an hour and a half on Sunday. Here's the at 10:30, so Sunday. Feel free to tune in. I promise we'll have a great conversation. We usually do. And so tune in Sunday 10:30 for an awesome conversation with a veteran DM who has a lot of things we can learn from. Otherwise, have a good weekend and hopefully see you on Sunday. If not, then Monday or some other time. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.